Hi everyone, Bev here, Clarkovision. So welcome to my metal tag. Have I just moved this thing? I don't know, can. Right, anyway, welcome to my metal tag for the year. Managed to get around to completing the questions, and it's been dished out this year by the Heavy Metallurgy channel. Link below, as well as other links to maybe other people or bands that I mention here. So without further ado, I'll get into it. And I've got my notes here, I've got my phone here for things. So here we are. And so question one, the metal tag's got 20 questions, and here's the first one. So wait a minute, that's my answers. Let me get the questions. Name a release you're eagerly anticipating in 2025. Well, there's a couple, but one is the release of the final part of the trilogy from Elven King, Reader of the Runes, Part 3, which is called Luna. That's due in March or April. Looking forward to that one. And also the new one from Majestica, who are responsible for, is it that album there? That album there. It's weird, you've got to point strange when you're kind of doing it back to front. Majestica. So Tommy Johansson, who left Sabaton, has now can concentrate his time more onto Majestica, and they are releasing a new one this year. I'm also hopeful we might get something from Running Wild and Dark Forest as well. So, okay, that was 4 instead of 1. Second question, show your 25th item in your collection. Right, well I went for the LPs, and 25 LPs in is this one. It's the self-titled Alien by Alien from 1988. This is on Virgin Scandinavia, as the Scandinavian pressing. Just kind of melodic hard rock, so there we have it. Question 3, overdue. Name an older band that you checked out for the first time in 2024 and loved. At first I kind of struggled with this, but I did find something, and it's this band here. They're called Dark Star. Actually, let me take it out of there. Just Dark Star. Now, these guys are out of the UK. I think they're kind of new wave of British heavy metal. They were formed in about 1978, yeah. This album was released in 1981 originally, but kind of lesser known, I guess, more obscure, I suppose. But they're definitely kind of new wave of British heavy metal. I think they had one other album after this from back in the day, and I haven't heard that. But this, I just kind of randomly happened upon them on YouTube, as I tend to do. Listen to it and absolutely love this, self-titled. So this is a reissue. No Remorse Records have released a limited number, which I'm so pleased they have. Yeah, you get lyrics sheet and everything with it. I think as well, is it red vinyl? Yeah, it's on red vinyl. There's some on red and some on black, I think. So yes, never heard of them before in my life till this year. New Wobbum band, absolutely tremendous album. So I'm delighted to have landed this after all those years. So that's question. That was question 3. So question 4. Feeding the Monkey. How do you purchase most of your music these days? Well, these days, yeah, it's all mostly online now, to be honest. Where I live, There is one or two kind of record stores, as in independent ones, and there is the likes of HMV kicking about in the town. But to be honest with you, the prices are ridiculous in these shops. You can more often than not find in HMV the same thing online for less, so it makes sense to get it online. And with the independent record stores, there's to be honest with you, there's not really many decent ones going about anymore, to be honest. So I spend most of my time really just browsing eBay, excuse me, yeah, eBay and Bandcamp. I'll go to there, and the official record label stores like Nuclear Blast or Napalm or AFM or Frontiers or No Remorse, or these kind of folk. On Amazon, obviously, I'll check out as well. Amazon can be a hit or a miss. Sometimes they can be outrageously expensive, and other times you strike it lucky and you get an absolute bargain. Most of the time they're kind of middle of the road nowadays, but it's really online is where I do all my shopping now for the most part. 5, an enigma. Show a heavy metal album that musically is really hard to place in a heavy metal subgenre. So I kind of struggled a little bit with this one as well at first, but I found this one in my collection and I thought, right, yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. It's actually by the band Saracen, the new wave of British heavy metal. Again, they were very early and linked into the early part of that movement. They kind of were a band, I think, that put together in the mid-70s, like 1976 or something like that. They're from Derbyshire, and this album came out, I think it was 1981, again if I remember correctly. This was their debut release under this name. They were under a different name before, but Heroes, Saints and Fools, it's kind of, it's an album, I quite like it, I do quite like it, but it's kind of weird in terms, I wouldn't really call it heavy metal at all. It's more a mixture of 70s hard rock, I've got them all written down here, a bit of progressive rock, but then a bit of kind of synthy, keyboardy, spacey, keyboardy kind of thing, ambient kind of music in places, and little elements of maybe the bands like Yes or Rush perhaps as well. I had somebody online had kind of put a review and mentioned those bands, and I think they've possibly got a point there. But yeah, this is kind of weird to stick in any specific genre, if you ask me. It's very different. It's not heavy as in heavy metal at all. It's very more, yeah, mixture of prog, 70s, synth, space, ambient, keyboardy, God knows what else kind of stuff. So yeah, there's my answer for that one. Saracen, Heroes, Saints and Fools from 1981. So that was 5. 6, Eating Crow. Talk about an album you used to hate, but after years it finally clicked and now you can't get enough of it. Well, I picked an album, now I won't say I can't get enough of it, because it's you know, I'm not that mad on it, but it's an album that I used to hate and now I actually quite enjoy it. It took a long time for me, because Metallica and Justice for All, it took a long time for me because Metallica, well, thrash bands, especially from back in the day, their style from back in the day and their sound was not my thing at all. It was too heavy, too fast, and too monotonous and too boring, basically. But this one, I now, it's safe to say, I now enjoy it. And it's taken me a long time. This is a reissue, it's not an original. I bought this about 2 years ago maybe now. After having the CD for about 5 years prior to that, I decided and liked it enough that I wanted it on vinyl. So, but yeah, I've talked about before, I remember seeing on Top of the Pops back in the day, 88 it would be, when they released the single for One, they had the video for that on Top of the Pops, which closed out the show one evening, and I remember listening to that and thinking that is just absolutely awful, it's rubbish, it's horrible, it's a noise, blah 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 blah. But no, obviously you grow over the years. I mean, I would be something like 12 at the time. You grow over the years and you kind of go down other avenues, explore more, you grow into other styles a little bit, your taste palette changes, widens, etc. blah blah blah. So but yeah, I'm still not huge on thrash, but I can listen to some of these guys now and again, and a bit of Megadeth now and again, but that's more or less it, to be honest, I think. So yeah, that is my answer to number, was it 6? Yes. So number 7 is an impulse, show an album that you blind bought in 2024. Okay, this is more or less a blind buy. In fact, it was a blind buy. I think it was the cover art that attracted me to it, and I did buy it last year, although it wasn't a release from last year, it's a release from 2022, and it's the band, what are they called? I don't know how you pronounce it exactly, but it's kind of like Achilles. Now, the boy that formed the band, that's his surname. So Achilles, they're out of Greece, they're another band out of the Greek scene, modern, traditional heavy metal mixed with a bit of kind of epic vibes in it here and there. And so, yeah, the Icewind Chronicles, and I think it was probably because I was on No Remorse's website looking at other things, and this one probably came up. So yeah, it is on No Remorse Records. So that is the, and you know, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but put it on and I was pleasantly surprised. So they are kind of like traditional metal with a bit of an epic, as I say, vibe about it. And so much so that I have purchased their latest release from last year, which is Tower of High Sorcery. This is a 2024 release. It just fell short of making my top 10, which is why you didn't see it. So that, there you go. That was my blind buy. The Icewind Chronicles by Achilles. Or Achilles, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Collector Scum. Show a title that you own more than one pressing on the same format. Well, for time reasons I didn't get out any of the Def Leppard ones because we'd be here all day, but what I have brought out is Pretty Maids and their EP. Danish hard rock band Pretty Maids from back in the day. This came out in, was it 1983, 84? I think it's 1983. So here it is. This is the kind of independent label release on, I don't know if you can make it out here, it's got CULP1, Culp, CULP1, which means this is on, bear with me, Bullet Records, there we are, Bullet Records, Bullet Publishing, 1983, made in France. So this is the European pressing. This one here, here we have it again, same album, but this one is the Par issue, Par 1060L. It's got down the bottom here. I don't know how well you can make that out. And this, I think, is the US pressing. If you bear with me one sec. Yep, this has got a silver Par Records ink, Neon Records ink. Yeah, so this is definitely the US pressing, this one here. And I'm not going to bother because it's so annoying me, but there it is. So that's copy number 2. And then when they were signed to one of the big labels, the CBS Records, as it happens, they reissued it, and complete with new cover. It is the same EP, the same 6 songs. So this was kind of like the CBS worldwide distributed version, which came out in 1984, and then they released their debut Red Hot and Heavy, their debut LP. So that is Pretty Maid's self-titled EP. I have 3 copies of that. Right. Oh, so show off a grail, something you really wanted that you acquired in 2024. Well, 2024 was a quiet year for buying stuff for me, but there was, I went through everything, and the one thing that I did want that I finally got in 2024 was this one. I had wanted a vinyl copy for ages, and it was Blind Guardian's A Twist in the Myth, which is one of my favourite Blind Guardian albums, if not the favourite of mine. So when Nuclear Blast were reissuing it, I think it was initially to get it at the end of 2023, but they made an error in the pressing on some of them, so they delayed it, and it came out in 2024 eventually. So this is on mint green vinyl as well. So yeah, that is, I really wanted this on vinyl, so that is the one I got, that I was really chuffed for. Number 10, a plea to the VCLT gods. What is a grail item you're on the hunt for? Well, there's a couple right enough that I would love to get on vinyl. I have them on CD, but to get them on vinyl would be absolute grails. One is Pretty Maid's, their 4th album, Syndicade or Syndicade. This happens to be a Japanese pressing, so that's the obi that's there on the front of it. So yeah, because this came out in 1992, it's a bit tricky and expensive to get a hold of on vinyl, so I would love that. And the other one, similar situation, is Gotthard's Lip Service. Now, they did reissue this last year. Was it last year? Or the year before? But they sold out. There was only a limited run as usual, and they sold out in 5 minutes, and they're now priced at well over £100 if you want one on vinyl, which I am not prepared to pay at this moment in time, that kind of price. So yeah, if anybody feels really rich, hello there. I'm only kidding. No, don't be silly. Don't pay that. So yeah, Gotthard's Lip Service, would absolutely love that one. And the other one, Invincible Shield by Judas Priest. Japan have a cassette issue out, and it's like one of these hardback media books that you get with the CDs. It's kind of like that, but it's cassette shaped, I think. So I want the Japanese cassette release of Invincible Shield, not the rest of the world, the Japanese only issue. That would be another wee grail on cassette. Now, where am I? That was number 10, wasn't it? So we're halfway. Let's see if I can get this done in under 30 minutes. Ha ha. So, a Boomerang album. Show an album that no matter how many times you purge it from your collection, another copy returns to you. Well, I had a good think about this. I went through my collection and thought, and there isn't really one actually, to be honest. That's not happened to me, I would say, as of anything that I've purged, which isn't a lot really, since I started collecting music again, more serious. Oh, just a text message. There isn't really one that I've gotten rid of and it's come back to me, because I'm kind of a bit particular about what comes into my collection. I'll not just accept anything for the sake of, oh right, here's a record, thanks. It's really got to be stuff that I like or I want, or you know, if somebody gifts something to me, then I'll generally keep it, unless it's something I'm never going to play, I'll pass it on or something. But and if it's something like that I do pass on, it tends to not really come back into my collection unless by accident. So that doesn't happen very often. So I've got to say I don't have an answer for number 11, sorry, so we'll just move on for that one. 12. Reunion. Name an artist you'd lost track of over time but reconnected with in 2024. Well, again, because 2024 was a bit quieter for me for music and various reasons, I had to think about this one too. But I've gone with this band because you could say I've been reacquainted with them, and that's Cloven Hoof, because of their new album from last year, Heathen Cross. It's a band I always knew about. I'd heard of them from back in the day and knew they were new wave of British heavy metal, kind of one of these bands. So I knew they had been around for years, and I have one other album of theirs, and it's from back in the 80s. It's the third release from 88, which is called Dominator. I've got that album, which I quite like as well. I really enjoy. But they're never a band that I really got around to investigating much. I've always kind of wanted to take the time, but for some reason never took time out to delve into Cloven Hoof a bit more. So I guess now that I've got this one, it's kind of reacquainted me with the band, so therefore I'm going to try and make a point this year of going back and listening through some of their other stuff. So hopefully that's that one. Upstarts. This is question 13. Name a new band whose debut album really impressed you. The debut doesn't have to come out last year, but recently. So, okay, I'm going to go with this little band here. I'm going to shine a light on these guys. Their debut album came out in 2022, so it's a couple of years back. And they have 2 releases today, and they are called Offended. So they're a UK band, they're unsigned, they're out of the Leeds area. And they're really, really excellent. I enjoy this band a lot. They kind of describe themselves, they're kind of traditional metal, but a little bit of progressive hints here and there, but not overly progressive, because I'm not really a prog kind of fan at all. They are way more traditional with, I would say, just hints of prog and hints of that epic vibe through their music again, I thought. And I would definitely say there's an Iron Maiden influence to their sound in places as well. You can sort of detect that. And there's a couple of other bands as well that I thought maybe Black Sabbath has an influence. But really talented young band. The vocalist is female, and there's another 2, although I think there's 2 young lads and a female originally, and I think they've added a 4th member now permanently. So this is their debut, Welcome to Nowhere by Offended. Do check it out. Great little unsigned band out of Leeds. And this is the 2nd release, which came out in 2023, sorry for the glare, and this one is Dream World. And again, excellent stuff again, really good, young, talented band, and I hope somebody notices them and signs them, because I think they could do well. They've got a bit of a unique sound with the vocals as well. I think the lass is pretty good as well, so I encourage you all to go to their Bandcamp, which I'll leave a link below, so you can just click on it, go to their Bandcamp and support this band, Offended. Right, that was number blah, 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 13. So number 14, show a band or release that you bought in 2024 as a direct result of watching someone else's YouTube. Right, well, the credit for this one goes to Metal Marty Mac, because he showed it in his top 20 or whatever it was of 2020, I think, was it top 24 or 2024? His top albums of 2024, and when I saw it in there, it reminded me, because I was aware earlier in the year that they were bringing this out, and it had completely escaped me. I'd totally forgotten about it. So this was right bang at the end of the year when I picked this up, and Amazon had it at a fairly good price, I have to say. So yeah, so it was thanks to Marty Mac for showing this that made me just go straight over to Amazon and buy it, because this is a great album. 15, don't judge a book by its cover. Show a great album with bad cover art. Well, I picked out a quite recent one as well, and I've picked out this one, I'm afraid, and it's no offence or anything, nothing against America or their national game or whatever, but for a heavy metal album and for UDO, I find this really quite dull and boring by their standards. You know, Touchdown, it's a blooming American football. Even though it's got spikes on it, you catch that when you're going to be in hospital, wouldn't you? But yeah, I just think, and this kind of almost put me off this album when it was released in 2023, this one. The cover was having an influence on how I was thinking, is this album going to be themed about American football or something? But apparently, well, not apparently, because I've listened to it now, so I know. But someone at the time said, no, there's just one song called Touchdown, and that's it. The rest is, you know, classic UDO metal kind of stuff. So, right enough, it is. And the fact that they're all dressed up in the gear as well, I just thought, what's so heavy metal about that, you know, kind of thing. That was kind of my thinking behind it. But so for UDO, and I absolutely love these guys. Udo Dirkschneider's one of my favourites, and it is my goal to try and get his entire catalogue on vinyl if I can. I just thought this was a bit of a dull and boring album cover for a metal album. So there we have it. So next up, we're on this backside now. Oh yeah, number 16 now, excuse me. Show an album whose cover art was created by one of your favourite artists. Yeah, well, there's a few of them, and I didn't want to go with the obvious, which is Iron Maiden's Derek Riggs, isn't it? So I picked another one who is a favourite of mine, and it's Rodney Matthews. So, you know, Rodney Matthews, he's done work for Magnum, he's done work for Praying Mantis, Diamond Head, Alan and Land, the duo, and Asia. So I've got a couple of them here. I just picked off the CD shelf to quickly show. This is one of the Magnum ones. I mean, you know, I just love his fantasy images and the imagination that he obviously uses to put into all this kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lassie, it's like Dora the Explorer and her dog almost here, into this strange land, you know. And so that's off of Sacred Blood, Divine Lies. And this one is Asia. This is an older one from, when did this come out? This is Asia's Aqua, and 1998 is the release. No, it's actually 1992 when this album came out. But again, more Rodney Matthews. And, I always like to open you get the full thing. But again, I've got some other stuff from him, obviously, as in Diamond Head and Praying Mantis and all these guys, and Alan Land. But fantastic stuff. So he's one of my favourites as well. So that's Rodney Matthews. And number 17. Name an album that you would like to see reissued on vinyl or CD. Okay, so here there, sorry, my screen just went blank now. An album that I would like to see reissued. So I'd quite happily take on CD for the first one here. I've got images of the covers on my phone because I don't have them. So one is Trick or Treats, Rabbit Hill Part 1, if you can see that without the glare. Because I have Part 2, that was sent to me in a VCLT, Adrian, cheers. And for some reason, looking around, Part 1 is nowhere to be found. I think there's a couple on Discogs, but I think it's quite expensive. So, Trick or Treats, Rabbit Hill Part 1, please. And on vinyl, this has been issued as a limited run on vinyl by Hades Paradise, and it's this obscure band called Cutthroat. Now I think they're out of the States, and it's self-titled Cutthroat. Now it was released on Hades Paradise in 2005 on vinyl, and that was its first time ever being released. But it was recorded back in the day. In 1987 it was recorded, and it's a great classic kind of melodic heavy metal album. It's really good sounding stuff, and I just, you know, you're talking, again, and this is kind of like over £100 if you want this. There's a couple on Discogs as well, and I'd love to get a really nice copy of that, but again, so I'm hoping this would get reissued again at some point, Cutthroat, or if anybody has a copy they want to give to me. Anyway, so that's that. Number 18. I've lost my questions. Here we are. Name an album from a genre that you typically do not listen to very much. Whatever. Oh yeah, so I'm going to show this one because I actually have it. And it's In Flames and Colony. Can you see that all right? In Flames and Colony. So these guys are classed as melodic death metal. And it's a genre I typically do not listen to, but for some reason I happened to be listening to this one day, and I think it was a while back, because I was listening to it through my computer on YouTube. And I just quite liked some of the music. You know, I don't particularly like the vocals as such, but the music, I just liked some of it. I thought, I could enjoy that. I wonder if it's... And I went back and I listened to it a few times and I thought, do I like it enough to buy it? And I kept going back to it every so often, and I thought, well, if it's keep pulling me back to it, then I must like it enough. So I went and got the CD one day. It's on Nuclear Blast. This is a reissue, obviously, as well. So yeah, In Flames, Colony, so melodic death metal. There you go. So I think in question 19, is this the one about who do you want to see live? What band do you hope to see live in 2025? Well, I'd like to see anybody, to be honest, but Iron Maiden would be the one. I wouldn't mind seeing that band. Offended. There's loads of bands I would love to see, but because of who I am now, you know, my health issues, I don't keep very well, and I have anxiety issues. I can't do concerts and stuff like that anymore, so it's highly unlikely I'll be seeing anyone, but you know, these are what I'd love. But if there's a DVD comes out of Iron Maiden's latest tour, I'll no doubt pick it up, so that'll do me. So, but yeah, I would say Iron Maiden, definitely. And lastly is question 20, and we've just gone over the whatever, a half hour, of course we have. In closing, tell your viewers about 2 new to you YouTube channels you discovered in 24, or just shout out 2 channels you enjoy. Okay, well, I'm shouting out 2, the 2 of the newer channels. One I did just come across last year, but the other ones I've known since before last year. And so the first one I'm going to say is Keith. from Attack from Down Under. He's in Australia, obviously, so I will have a link to his channel below. I do enjoy his content. He has quite a varied selection of music that he shows, so I do enjoy him. And the one that I've just kind of checked into much more recently is George G's Room of Rock. He's in the States, I believe. I think you're in the States. If not, I apologise. Yeah, I just recently came across him as well, and he looks to have a lot of good content. So I've not watched too many of his videos yet, but I'll be going back. I have subscribed to both these guys, and I'll leave links below if you want to check them out as well. And that is my metal tag, guys. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in another video. And please throw any comments you have down in the thing below, and have a nice weekend coming up. Okay, take care, bye the now.